have 2 pages and it's not even like time to start Kohelem time.
It's time to start.
We're working on it. No, it's only it is only 5:55 Kohelem time. So
Well, this alone is the honor, and this alone is very honoring. So just to see you all in 2-inch squares is good by me.
So I'm going to give everybody just a couple of minutes to just say a few words if they want to, because I'm going to end up muting everybody because there's no way to have everybody speaking. So anybody that wants to say something so it all comes out, then that's fine.
I think you should call on people in the order of your screen.
Oh, good luck. The screen keeps changing. So
yeah, we're just leaving it open. He's just leaving it open as people are coming on.
Yeah,
that's all.
Well, I just wanted to say to the rabbi, I love you. I've loved you all these years that you've been the rabbi for the Perlman family. But I will always remember in my heart with great, great love and joy how you helped us have a bar mitzvah for Elijah. That was so special and so kind.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I would like to chime in the same ilk, that it were not for you, my grandson Aiden would never have become a bar mitzvah. And how you really worked with his whole family was amazing. And also a family funeral of someone who you didn't know, that you were just a godsend. And I don't know how we would have done it without you. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
okay. Well, there will be time for these types of remarks at the very end for because let's get moving here. I'm going to mute everybody. So, Jeff, you've been here for Kol Halev for over 13 years, and now everyone's here for you. So that's pretty special. So we're going to begin with Havdalah, and we're going to lead into it with a melody that you like.
Should I light the candle?
Yeah. Well, not yet. Not yet. There is so much magnificence near the ocean. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in. There is so much magnificence near the ocean. Waves are coming in, waves are coming in. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim minei v'samim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam melech haolam borei morei ha'esh borei morei ha'esh borei morei ha'esh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam melech haolam המבדיל בין קודש לחול, המבדיל בין קודש לחול, בין אור לחושך, ביום השביעי, לששת ימי המעשה, ברוך אתה אדוני, המבדיל בין קודש לחול, קודש לחול.
And this is a spice bag from Bali.
Yes, we still have the one you brought.
It still works.
Yep.
And Geoff, you had requested that at some point we sing Kosi Rivaya, My Cup Runneth Over, to Shefa Gold's melody for Oziv Zimrat Yah. So we'll do that. Kosi Rivaya, 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 Kosi Rivaya.
Thank you, George. You know, over the years, I've thought of, little things that I might, if I ever got a tattoo, I would consider tattooing. But now I think I would do that one. Kosi Rivaya, those are, I think, my two favorite Hebrew words.
It works. It works.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, Rabbi Stephen, you have a little video, I understand, that you would like to share?
Limnot yameinu, limnot yameinu, limnot yameinu kein hoda v'navi levav chochma. Limnot yameinu kein hoda v'navi levav chochma. Teach us to treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to treasure each day. Treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day. Treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day. Limnot yameinu, limnot Limnot yameinu kein hoda v'navi levav chokhma. Limnot yameinu kein hoda v'navi levav chokhma. Teach us to treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to
Okay, so here's the blessing. I'll do it in Hebrew and then try to translate. But everyone needs to really say Amen with gusto. You ready, Wills? Wills, we're gonna do the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likboa mezuzah. So, Holy One of blessings, source of blessings, who elevates us by making connections and commanded us to affix a mezuzah. Amen.
Teach us to treasure each day. Treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day.
Any dry eyes in the house? Let me fix this here. Second. So, Rabbi Geoff, you have a few sets of blessings, I understand, to share with us.
You know, those pictures make it look like I was having a good time and I really enjoyed myself. And I did. I did. So reflections upon leave taking, all of this happened at Hanukkah time. So I thought of 8 snippets from my favorite book from Siddur. Kind of 8 blessings. You know, I would preface this by saying that the way I like to teach Judaism is that not mitzvot, but blessings are the building blocks, right? The building blocks of Jewish life and a life of spiritual attention and attunement and growth. So blessings. The first one is obvious. It's look at what we've done, look at how far we've come, look at what we've been privileged to help create and witness and participate in, right? So we can pause and look back for a moment or take stock. And one thing is really clear to me. There have been many, many, many people that have come through and stayed for a time. And many of you have stayed for a good long time, and that's so rewarding. But there's one person that's been accompanying me from the whole beginning, for the whole journey. And that's my wife, Donna, the one constant. So when we say Shehechianu and arriving at this point, it's because it's been a long journey to this point. So I'm not only glad to have arrived at this moment, I'm really blessed. So George, would you sing Shehechianu, please? I could screen share. I can do that. I will screen share the brachot.
Okay. But I think most everyone knows this one, right?
Yes, here you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
Amen. A second one. I was once invited many years ago to tend the fire for a sweat ceremony, a Native American sweat ceremony. And it's keep the hot rocks coming is what the fire tender does. And later I was told why. It's love in the service to one's people. So to tend the fire, to keep the hot rocks coming for the sweat ceremony is a demonstration of love in service to one's people. I was a rabbinical student and I had no idea, really little did I know how true that would become. What a blessing it is to spread some love and care. What a blessing it has been to spread some love and care. So the second bracha is Ohev Amo Yisrael. George.
Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Amen. So how about if I just do two and then we'll come back to them. We can alternate them with some things.
Could we get rid of the screen share so we can just
Yes,
see
of
you?
course.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's have a few speakers. So I'm going to have the since I'm the moderator, I have one particular person who wants to speak, and then we have the other spouse will speak. So Ricky, why don't you go first, and then Donna.
Okay, all right. So Jeff, so I thought long and hard about what I wanted to say. And, you know, I thought about your name, right? Jeff, G is for generous, E is for engaging, O's, let's go O's. F is for focused, sometimes. And the other F is for formal, not. Getting people mad because you were in short sleeves. I remember that.
Oh,
So,
right.
so you took us on a journey throughout the Siddur year after year, depending on your focus or lack thereof, that week or that moment. Even when you would forget candle lighting and we'd have to bring you back, but it was always a journey. You never let us get stale by traveling the same path in our annual cycles or our weekly gatherings for Shabbat. And for that, I'm grateful. Your love of music fostered the richness of KHL services today with music from so many artists, including the Grateful Dead and those within our community and others, teaching connectedness even when it could be a stretch. Your partnership with my love, the reason that we moved to Baltimore, has been special for both of you. And the ability of the two of you to create special moments together for all of us will be missed. Your love of poetry and the richness of other traditions allowed us to find more connections beyond. Bottom line, you parented well. You helped create the Kol Halev community, and this community will now continue eventually with a new rabbi due to the foundation that you helped build. And personally, I'm richer for our friendship, which I know will continue. And as my rabbi, there'll always be times and spaces in prayer when I'll hear your voice saying, "What grabbed you?" Thank you for reminding me to slow down and connect. Thank you for helping create this community that's so important to so many of us. We use Each of Us Has a Name during Kaddish, which praises life. And I've always believed we develop the names by which we are known by our actions. As I was listening to the musical version of this poem by Ya'elah and thinking of you leaving, I thought of the many names you have within our community. Rabbi, Jeff, teacher, leader, listener, counselor, mentor, helper, friend. And the many names that you have in your personal life that also need and deserve your attention. Each of these names are given by Shekhinah and by your actions and your love. May God bless you on this next part of your journey as you deepen some of your already deserved names and create more names by which you will become known. I'll miss you as my rabbi, and my heart smiles as I have been blessed to know you by so many of your names.
Oh, thank you.
And Donna.
That was beautiful, Ricky. So
Love you too.
I just am bringing sort of the next phase of what happens next to mind right now, and I just wanted to share a poem by John O'Donohoe. So it's called For Retirement. This is where your life has arrived after all the years of effort and toil. Look back with graciousness and thanks on all your great and quiet achievements. You stand on the shore of new invitation to open your life to what is left undone. Let your heart enjoy a different rhythm when drawn to the wonder of other horizons. Have the courage for a new approach to time. Allow it to slow until you find freedom to draw alongside the mystery you hold and befriend your own beauty of soul. Now is the time to enjoy your heart's desire, to live the dreams you've waited for, to awaken the depths beyond your work and enter into your infinite source. I love you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Amen.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Donna. Let's see, who will go next? Helene.
Thank you. It was always important to me to know the rabbi of the shul that I was a member. I belonged to many of the larger congregations, but there was never a closeness between myself and the rabbis. Also, in these larger congregations, there was a lack of prayer with more chatting than I really wanted to see. I was directed to Kol Halev by my dear friend Jackie. She told me about the rabbi and the services in the cantor, and I have wanted to be closely connected to my rabbi and to Judaism, and to ultimately bring me closer to God. I went to a few services. I loved them. I really was impressed with having the congregants included in the services. I'd never seen that before. My meeting with Rabbi Geoff was wonderful. He was a regular person and a rabbi. He was welcoming, supportive, and willing to listen to my story. I felt I developed a relationship with him at that meeting. I felt that I could always email him or call him if needed. I felt he was a friend as well as my rabbi. He has a big heart and he made me feel appreciated. He and Cantor George's leading of the services together with the best music I can imagine brought joy to my heart. He will be greatly missed.
Thank you, Helene.
Sheldon.
Well, Driana got started, but I wanted to thank you, Rabbi. You started with Wilsey's baby name in his house. I think we first met, and we went to the first high holidays right after that, and it was a revolution for us. Growing up in an Orthodox shul, I just regret that my dad never saw one of your services. He would have loved it, the way you got everyone involved, the way the kids were important and everything. And then you were there for us when my mom died, and then you did the unveiling for us. It was really wonderful. And then, of course, you, I think, gave us the idea to get serious about Elijah's bar mitzvah, and that was wonderful. And thank you so much for making that happen. And then also pushing for the library as well, which you had some resistance to. And I wanted to thank you so much for that as well. So thank you so much. You will be deeply missed from the Perlman family, and just wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon. Brianna, thank you. Wills, Hey, a special thank you to Wills. You know, he's taught me at least 2 really profound things,
Awesome.
right? So please tell him when you tuck him in bed tonight or something, tell him he's one of my teachers.
Okay.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay.
Yes,
Will
absolutely.
do.
Thank
And
you.
he better keep the kippah that I gave
Oh,
him.
he will.
Oh.
Don't you worry.
Okay.
He's got it in
All
his room.
That is a special one.
Okay.
Okay, let's go for your second set of blessings, Geoff.
Okay. Did I see Erica here? Erica and Doug?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
They're here.
Okay. Listen up, Erica. For all the simchas and sorrows, or rather the sharing of simchas and sorrows, I'm so grateful for presence at these deep touch points that Father Chris calls thin places where heaven and earth meet. Happy or sad, they seem to transcend time, and they're so connective. And I want to remember that the soul of Kol Halev really came together with Larry Breslau's Shiva. So for the few of you who were there, the soul of the community came together at that Shiva. And it has been a through line in everything we've done since, all of our life cycling and every day. The ultimate blessing here may be the relationships and friendships that are formed. Then caring happens. I mean, there's a Talmud study group going on for years. But couples have met and even married. There's a group reading Kabbalah material. There's a group reading literature of Jewish interest. So it's really the friendships and relationships that are so rewarding to see. In my mind, I call that bringing into the covenant, by which I mean engaging in covenantal relationship, engaging in godliness, bringing each other into covenantal embrace. So the next bracha is about causing to enter into the covenant. George, the third one.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lachnis b'brit am Yisrael.
So holding each other covenantally. Hold on. And then there's the learning, right? The learning and growing. And it's been such a pleasure and a purpose to have a container or venue for the explorations that we do. Room for creativity, for trying on ideas, for flexibility in thinking and in practice. And for the sharing of both learning and teaching. I feel like we are learners and teachers. We create a lot of wisdom around the circle.
Did you get Doug?
So for this great conversation of commentary and interpretation and a lot of opinion, it's la'asok b'divrei Torah. George, la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. And we can go on then, and I'll come back to these.
Okay. So next, Nora Frankel.
Hello, Nora.
Hi, how are you?
I'm delighted to see you.
Yeah, gosh, it's been a journey of 15 years for us.
Wow.
Jeff, I had to write it down. You've been a special part of our lives through celebrations, the bat mitzvah of our daughter, Emma Kaplan. Wow, I have this, if I've done the math, 16 years ago. She's 29. To the difficult ones, such as the Shiva for my mother, Blanche, 6 years ago, you stepped in. You got me through it. It was a drama, as everything was back then. Over these many years, we've shared laughter, wisdom that's come from you, and you've supported me through so many times. You've also supported Alex, shared social activism with him. He marched with you. I know he's come to you just to talk to you, and everything through a Jewish perspective. I never thought I'd ever see my husband go to a synagogue. He showed up because he wanted to hear from you. And thank you for everything. I really, you've changed my life and you've been there for me. So this is from me, from Peter, Emma, and Alex. Thank you, Geoff.
Thank you, Nora. And you know, when I drive by your house, I live not far from you.
Right.
I'm always looking for you. I always look for you.
I don't know, I'm probably sitting here Zooming.
Right. Thank you for coming tonight.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Julie Aber.
Oh, Geoff, I don't know where to even start. So, thank you for starting, being the seed for Kol Halev and watching those roots take form and grab a hold to grow a little sapling that grew into a beautiful, beautiful tree. And through all the seasons, of all of our ups and downs and life events, Kol Halev means so much to our family. So for you starting Kol Halev, it really made an impact on us and brought our family together and brought Judaism into our home and welcomed our whole family. And but Geoff, you were such a part of that and such a friend, a teacher, guiding us, supporting us through some of the most difficult times that I had to go through when my dad passed. It was very, very trying. And I wish we had known you when my mom had passed several years prior to that. I think it would have made that journey a little bit easier because you really guided us through some of those emotional moments and made us realize the special gifts that we had, even though we were mourning. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. That is a monumental part of our life as our family, and you will always be right there as that warm heart of all of it. I just want to thank you. I also have to tell you that not many people will take me out of a meeting at work from out of the boardroom during a meeting. And I remember getting a phone call from you midday, and I saw it on my phone. It was coming up, and excuse me, I need to take this call. And I stepped out, and I was so thankful and grateful because you asked me to step up and participate in the congregation and in our beautiful community in a way that I didn't know that I was able to do. And I value it so much. You saw that in me and brought it out, and I love you for it. And thank you. And I love this community. And I don't know if Jim wants to
if I'd just like to add that I may be Jewish by marriage only at this point, but when I see a good soul, I recognize it and I appreciate it. And Rabbi, you are a very, very good soul. And I wish you and your family all the best in the future. So thank you and peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wish you all the best. And I know you're going to have a wonderful, wonderful path ahead of you. And we will always be friends. And you will always be in my heart. And I thank you for everything.
And Nathan, I want an autograph now. So when you become a famous ball player, I'm going to have it. And Mara, bat mitzvah in the spring, right?
Yeah, she said yes. Yes, okay. She doesn't want to miss it. April 24th.
Yeah, I won't miss it either.
I know.
She's got to get back. She's got to get back to the grindstone in next month.
Really, Nathan, I want an autograph.
Thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. We love you.
Okay, Maya Miran.
known each other a long time, however distantly from all of our school days. And I just wanted to say,
You can speak closer to the mic.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I just want to say, is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to say how much I admire the way you work with the young people with their bar and bat mitzvahs. I know I brought 1 or 2 students to you who were having difficulty with where they were. They switched to Kol Halev and they loved their experience with you. And I love how you bring them in and make the experience, the bar bat mitzvah experience, so meaningful to them. Because
Thank you
it's
for saying that, Maya. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's important to bring young people into the Jewish community in such a welcoming way.
And I think that's your niche too. You're really great with that group.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maya. And Rick Righteous.
Well, we have till about 9, right, George?
Right. Keep
We
going.
have as long as we need.
Well, I'll try to speed it up then, a little bit. So it was at the unveiling of the gravestone of our dear friend Harold August. And at the reception, and I had been out for a number of years with a rather serious illness. And Geoff said to me at that time, "I want you back." Remember that, Geoff? And that was one of those occasions you've since said to me that you never know when what you say is going to make a difference. And that made a difference for me. It really did. And indeed, now we're here about 5 years later. And I look every time I come, every time I see you, I look for that warm and welcoming smile. And I know that it's something that I can count on. Now, the other conversation we had Geoff and I met for lunch a number of times to talk about programming, particularly. And in one of our early conversations when I came back, I said, well, Geoff, why are we having such a difficult time trying to get people to come? Why are we not, you're a warm, charismatic guy, and we have a lot to offer. What was the problem? We talked about it, we schmoozed a bit. Well, that probably continued for a while. And then about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, something happened. And we both recognized it because I said it to you and you said it back to me, that something is happening and a critical mass was forming. And partly due to the people coming from Beit Tikva, which we appreciate, who have come on now to take positions of leadership and active participation. And there are others as well. I don't want to say they're the only people. But turn the page here. So we now have a situation where we have what I would call a kahila. We not only have a minyan, which is the base, that's the very base quorum, but we really have a sense of I have, and maybe other people feel that way. We really have a sense of congregation, and even with COVID, with Zoom, it's actually the situation is solidified, and we have this on a regular basis now that we can count on, and that makes a great deal of difference to me. I don't know about other people, but it really makes a great difference for me. So, Geoff, what Jeff has done, in my opinion, and I've expressed this to him, and Shira and I have both expressed it to him. Jeff has created the conditions for this to happen. That his has been an approach of allowing and encouraging individual participation, initiative, creativity, and people have risen to the call. And you know that a situation of evolution and emergence has happened at Koholev. See, I don't want to forget anything here. It was kind of the philosophy. I've kind of been working on the philosophy of make the shul that you want to belong to. Kind of like build your own shul, like make your own adventure, right? This is build your own shul. We have a number of people now who are doing that very actively, and it's very good for me to see that happening. And that we have a host of innovative and creative projects, including Rep. Stevens' videos that goes with the music. And of course, there's the Havdalah open mic. I can't forget that, right? You know? So, but there are others, the individuals stepping up like Judy and Kenny and their values program. You know, all of this has happened, and it has happened relatively recently. So in conclusion, after a period of rest and recreating and maybe flopping around a little bit. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's what I did after I retired. Because I didn't know I didn't know how to spend the time, you know. But maybe that I would hope, this is my personal hope for you, Jeff, that you consider writing about what's happened here. We've talked about this before, but you're gonna have the time for it now, okay? Because some interesting and important things have happened here. And just a couple of things to mention is that you've created a situation that you call big tent Judaism. And I don't know how many other places have that. You know, I'm not sure. That's one of the few places where I think that exists, and accommodates all the way from Bill Marker's Reconstructionism to Rep. Stevens' renewal and everything in between. And you know, so you have done that, and that needs to be written about. You know, I don't know that many people who have done that, who actually maybe thought about it, but you have actually created, you at least have set the conditions for that to happen. And the other thing, and I'm sure there are others as well, is to write about the relations with Holy Comforter, Church of the Holy Comforter. That there, you know, the idea really, and we've talked about this, you've talked about this, is to go beyond the concept of interfaith to interspirituality, of finding the common core and being able to express that together. And that's, again, maybe people theorized about that, but this has actually happened here. And it needs, in my opinion, well, put it this way, it would be great if you would write about it. I'd love to see it.
Thank you, Richard, for all this. Awesome.
So, you know, so you said, you know, you're going to be around, you're going to be connected with the benefits to students. You always be the founding rabbi here.
Yep.
And so what I would say to you is happy trails and litraot.
Thank you. Richard, I'll write those articles just as soon as I write the one that David Wagenheim has been after me to write for years. David, are you still here? Yes, David. So I came
You
back
remember it.
from,
How about that?
right, the best bat mitzvah ever in Bali. We went to help some friends, make a bat mitzvah. Anyway, I haven't written that up either, but I will.
I'm impressed that you remember.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff,
Thank
let's
you,
go.
Richard.
Let's continue with your third set of blessings.
Okay. Well, Richard said a lot of it, first of all, about everyone benefiting and my life being immeasurably enhanced by partners and collaborators, right? It's a collective construction, everybody's efforts and support and contributions. And I too, Richard, am proud of the culture of encouragement and empowerment, welcoming and inviting and distributed leadership. So it's a pleasure to me to see people step up and grow and try. In this regard, though, I want to make specific mention of Cantor George. So a lunch meeting at Crepe du Jour in Mount Washington evolved into a pretty wonderful partnership of comparing notes and sharing ideas and pushing and pulling, conferring and differing, consensus, and lo and behold, we've helped each other and Kol Halev become better. I know, George, here's the thing that really chokes me up. We took a chance on each other, or we gave a chance. We gave each other a chance. And I think it led to something really great. I think it led to becoming brothers. So George, I really appreciate all of your help. So let's say that it's God that moves through us as we meet and walk together for a while and share ourselves and co-create. So thanking everyone and thanking George by name. There's a little phrase, let me screen share. There's another little snippet in Siddur. One, two, three, four, the fifth one.
Mm-hmm.
So besides Baruch Atah Adonai, Hatov Shimcha Ulecha Na'el Hodot, it's to your great name, all thanks are due. You sing this, George, or do you? I have a little tune for it.
Go ahead.
Do you know the one? Hatov Shimcha Ulecha Na'el Hodot. Hatov Shimcha Ulecha Na'el Hodot.
No, not one of my Calypso repertoire.
We'll learn it. Okay, so one more blessing.
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
For the congregation, the blessing in the Siddur talks about providing lights for the lamps, wine for Kiddush and Havdalah, food for guests, donations for poor, and all those who are faithfully occupied with the needs of the community. Now, administration and governance, logistics and finances may not be in the realm of the transcendent, but this too is stuff of holiness. This is where holiness lies also. In the backroom mechanics, the myriad meetings and action items, and we have been fortunate to have a rolling cadre of lay leaders contribute their ideas, their counsel, their efforts, and their hearts over the years. So this is from Misha Beirach. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless, it says, all those who occupy themselves with the needs of the community.
Right.
So please, everyone say Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, and I'll save the last two for later.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. If you can.
Stop screen sharing.
Oh,
I got it.
There you go.
Okay, a few more speakers. Jonathan.
When I've had the opportunity to speak, I've always been noted for keeping things brief. Any reason to change that this evening? So I'm going to boil this down to one very simple statement about you, Geoff. You are simply one of the most decent human beings I have ever known, and you are a blessing in my life, lives of everyone here, and everyone you touch. And I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan.
As you said, short but sweet.
And to the point.
And to the point. Alan Silver.
Geoff, I can probably honestly say that you're the only pulpit rabbi in the area who worked for Mr. Kaplan. Now, it's not Mordecai Kaplan, it's Ray Kaplan, Baskin Robbins, but
exactly right.
Yes, am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
$1.10 an hour.
$1.10. Well, you actually made 10 cents more an hour than I did, so he liked you. But yeah, in all seriousness, you have this this unique way, and I'm sure that Donna and everybody else would attest to it. But where you tend to get me to agree to things, and I don't even really know that I'm agreeing. Do you remember when we went to Bernie's house with the relocation? And as we were leaving, of course, I had already had a decent amount to eat, so I was kind of feeling pretty good. I was pretty happy. And you said something like, basically, can I do you a favor? So it sounded fine. Next thing I know, I'm the treasurer. You did the same thing. I guess it's the old story of fool me once, shame on you. But you did the same thing with Torah study. Why don't you try it one Saturday? Next thing I know, I'm there pretty much a regular. I've been a member of a small congregation before, and small is not always Hamish. It's just small. We had small congregations. The people really, this community is unlike any other congregation I've been affiliated with. It's real, and it's a reflection of you and George. And so, I'm very thankful, to you. An example was, about a little over a year and a half ago, my mother died. And it was on a Friday. She died at noon. I was on my way to see her, but my aunt, she had stopped eating, which is common with somebody that has dementia. But my aunt had suggested that I go stop on the way and get her some a milkshake. And so I stopped at there was near where she was, there was a place that was Roland Park, the some ice cream place there. And but anyway, by the time I got to her, she had died. And I, of course, felt horribly guilty. And I talked to you about it. And instead of me feeling guilty, you actually turned the prism around and said, that really the last thing that I did for her was a mitzvah. So instead of feeling terrible that I wasn't there for her, you changed my whole perspective on it. You've definitely made a major difference in my Jewish journey, and I'm gonna miss you deeply. And best wishes, and thank you so much for, in my view, making me a better Jewish person, and just thank you.
Thank you too. I consider you a Talmud Chacham. You're now a scholar. The way you study, great.
Thanks, Alan. Beth Bagnaski.
Well, my favorite phrase is constant change is here to stay. And it continues. I gotta say, Geoff, I'm really annoyed. I'm really annoyed. I'm annoyed that it took me this long to join this congregation. I've only been a member for what, 2 or 3 years? I waltzed around this congregation for a long time. And when I approached and was met with open arms, I still had baggage. I had some baggage. I had some heavy suitcases that needed to be unpacked. And it was a scary thing to do, but I sat down with Rabbi Geoff and unpacked those bags. And Geoff, you couldn't have been any kinder or more gracious. I'm sorry, I've been verklempt all day.
Me too.
So I came to this group, and it's so interesting that besides it being a Reconstructionist synagogue, that we got George from the conservative movement, and Steve and Renewal and Kabbalah, and from when I first saw Kol Halev in the beginning to what I found when you moved to the current location, oh my gosh, what a dramatic transformation. And the music and Shabbat Unplugged, it's pretty astounding. And I realized when I tried to do a little studying with Rabbi Steve that I didn't know crap from Kabbalah. So I went to the public library and I borrowed Judaism for Dummies. Now I've been in the Jewish circle for a while now, but you know, there's always plenty to learn. And what I wrote down on this Post-it note, I've been carrying around for the last year and a half. And this is not a revolutionary thought. Think of Torah as the musical score to an amazing symphony. The written music contains the notes, but doesn't say how to play them. And carrying that around, it occurred to me it occurred to me when Geoff announced his retirement that Geoff is the conductor. Geoff is the conductor of this symphony. Geoff is the holiness conductor. He's the godliness conductor. Thank you. Mazel tov and blessings.
Beth. Thank you, Beth.
Okay, Jackie.
Well, I almost told George that I didn't have to talk again because I keep talking. But and crying. But a couple things have come to my mind listening to others just about my journey with you. And the first thing that comes to mind is how I trust you so much that I got scammed, into I got scammed, paid that $200 you could buy something for your niece. But no, in a much more serious note, I'm thinking about when you asked me to give a devar during Rosh Hashanah. That's a pretty big deal. And when you asked me to be a wise aging facilitator, and when you asked me to speak, at the new church when we were going to bring together the church members and the shul members. And, I thought that day when I first came back and you said I could use your help, I thought I was helping you. I didn't know you were going to help me. And I hope that our mutual aid will last for the rest of our lives. I'm honored to know you and to support you and your family.
Thank you, Jack.
Miss you deeply.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay, your fourth set of blessings, Geoff.
Okay, okay. so the word that kept coming up for me was delight. That mostly what rises to the surface is all the fun and pleasure and true rewarding, satisfying delight that happens. So of course my mind goes to Yismechu b'malachutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Oneg being delight, pleasure, delight, joy, enjoyment. Those who keep Sabbath enjoy your realm. That's real enjoyment, right? So I know from my own and our experience, this delight is more than just sort of eating well and being comfortable on a day of rest. That was its original meaning, but Oneg Shabbat can be a catchphrase that encompasses the uplift and expansion and happiness that we all share in most of our activities, gatherings for learning or literature or whatever it might be. Emphasis on the oneg rather than the particular occasion, especially the pleasure derived in the rhythm and anchor of a friendly group. That has proved to be a really deeply satisfying delight. The rhythm and anchor of a friendly group. Those who enjoy that kind of thing, what we share, what we have built together, enjoy some kind of godly realm. So I thank you for that. And then there's one last one we'll do at the end, I suppose. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Not everyone has to speak.
Not everyone is, but enough people, and they want to speak, and we've got to let them speak to you, you know. Let's see, David Wagenheim.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I wanted to say a few words to you, Rabbi Geoff, because you know, I've known you since I was probably 4 or 5, and
so this is Isaac, not David,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I know I can speak for myself and my sister and my father and my whole family, that you have been the shamash, if you will, to our Jewishness, and you've kind of my whole life you've been there. My sister's whole life, my whole you know, memory as a Jew, it's always been you, and I know that as long as I live, I'm going to be a Jew, and because of that, I'm going to think of Kol Halev, and I'm going to think of you, and that's something that, you know, can't be taken away from myself, and that's something I wanted to share with you.
Thank you, Isaac.
Isaac muted me. I think he was 6 when we met, and Amy Rose was 3. Isaac's going to be 17 in 1 month from today. Hard to believe. And I feel like in some ways you've been a co-parent at times, and it's been so meaningful. And I just thought of this a minute ago, but my grandfather, my mother's father, it's a long story, but his mother died in childbirth right before his bar mitzvah. And he never got bar mitzvah. And he used to tell me that his rabbis were the meanest sons of bitches he ever knew. They were horrible people. And you are the reverse of that. So that was sort of the impression I had. And a lot of my, I did not get bar mitzvah, but a lot of my friends did growing up in Hicksville, and they would tell me how awful the rabbis were. You certainly are not that. You're quite the mensch, and you've been a co-parent. And I also want to say that I grew up feeling Jewish, but never going to services or things like that. I was a Boy Scout at a synagogue, so I did go to services, ushered and things like that, and heard them, and they were boring as hell, and they had no relevance to my life. But the high holiday services I went to that you led had so much relevance to what was going on in the world, and really were quite meaningful, and it's meant a lot. So thank you for everything, and we hope this is not an end, but a continuance, and I wish you all the
Thank
best
you
in
both.
retirement.
Thank you both.
Okay.
Isaac, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, Rita.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on speaking, but then I thought, well, I want to speak now with all what's been said. I came to Kol Halev through a mutual friend of mine and Jeff's, and I had also grown up in an Orthodox background where, it didn't have a lot of meaning, but, but a lot of positive memories. And when I lived up in Amherst, the rabbi that I joined a synagogue for the first time was Sheila Pels-Weinberg, who's a commentator in our Siddur. And then there was Geoff. And it was, again, someone that I could relate to and who I knew was a rabbi that would understand me, and I could embrace the way Judaism was being approached. So I've so appreciated that, Geoff, that that could be a part of my continuing Jewish experience, and how you have always supported me and made me feel special. As you do, I think, everyone, but I really, it feels to each one of us special. And then, of course, and when my mother died and my Aunt Bella fell in love with you, and and it was like, this is a different form of Judaism that people had not experienced. And when my friends came up from the beach to be able to come, they started their synagogue in Rehoboth, but they could come here at the high holidays and love what was here. So just so much appreciation for what you have given me and our community here. Thank you.
Oh, Rita, thank you. Thank you.
And I know I know this will continue, and wish you all the best. And I'm retiring now too, so I get it.
I know, we can play.
Okay, Rich Polt.
Oh, I didn't see.
Hey, hi Geoff. I'll keep this short. I just wanted to share a story that I think encapsulates how I feel about you and what I feel like you represent. And obviously I echo what everybody else has said so far about, an amazing rabbi and friendship and all of that. But there was this moment in Beit Lev, maybe 5 years ago, I can't remember. Sam and Ethan were both there. Maybe Isaac was there as well. A couple other people on the call may have been there, but it was, I think, the beginning of the Beit Lev season, and we were coming towards the end, and we were all standing in that room at Brown Memorial where we met. And you said, I want to try something. And you took the Torah out of the ark, and I'm like, what's he going to do? And we take the dressing off and everything. And you say, we're going to wrap ourselves in Torah. And you start unwinding this thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the Torah is going to rip. And and you're just directing people. Oh, well, just hold on to the Torah. You hold it. We've got this Torah unraveled and wrapped around a room full of children and adults. And we're all holding it. And, and we're all standing there. And it was simultaneously, just symbolically, such a beautiful thing to be wrapped in Torah. But also it was completely irreverent and probably broke like 100 rules, about how you handle a Torah. So to me, that represented how you showed us we could interact with Judaism. We were surrounded by it, yet we could also make it our own. And that was a beautiful lesson. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you for everything. Good luck.
Thank you. Right. Thank you.
Sila.
Hi.
Where's
Hi,
Sila?
Rabbi.
Hey, Sila.
I remember the first day I came into the synagogue, everybody was just so open and warm and loving. And you answered every question I had, no matter how stupid it was. I remember I was turning 13 soon. Well, I think I was like 11 or something. I was 11, and I had heard that to be a bar bat mitzvah, you have to chug a whole bottle of wine during the reception. And I asked you that, And you were like, where did you hear that from? And I was like, from one of my friends who's a post bar mitzvah. And so like I just replay that memory through my head every time I'm going through something really tough. It makes me smile about how patient you were with me when I was learning my Torah portion and learning Hebrew as well, even though I'm still not very close to the fluency I would like to be, but you know.
Thank you, Sela. Thank you.
And I'm really gonna miss you.
And you know, you've been a big part of my experience too. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shalom.
You're welcome.
Susan, good words.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Susan and Stuart.
Well, I haven't prepared anything, so some reflections. I mean, Rabbi Jeff, you and I have been at this together for a pretty long time. We've gone through iterations of the Sunday school, of Shabbos services, kind of everything. And sort of in my, you know, board type roles, I mean, we didn't always agree on everything, sort of tactically. But I always felt like that when it came down to it in terms of the values and the vision, that we, you know, we saw the same thing and we're aiming towards the same thing. And I was grateful for that.
You know, I just think that you have so many gifts and talents and strengths that I don't have, that we were complementary. Really, seriously.
I think we both grew and have grown through our working together and relationship.
Indeed.
And I'm grateful.
Me too.
Very, very grateful. There's one thing that Stuart and I have been sort of joking about, was a conversation he and I had not too long ago. And again, as other people have said, I think Beth, you sort of used the word as Rabbi Jeff as kind of conductor and, you know, and leader, and you creating kind of the culture of learning, the culture of experimentation, of creativity and openness, so that we all could all find our place. And so as Stuart and I were talking, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I said, you know, I really feel like spiritually I've changed since I've been at Kol Halev, and you know, the spiritual part has become more animating for me. And Stuart said, really? I feel like Jeff really validated me to become an atheist and to accept that myself. and we live together well in that, just as we live together well in that within Kol Halev. So again, thank you and blessings to you, and all good wishes for your future.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you both.
Doug Colbert.
Isaiah.
Okay, so Jeff, this has been a 20-year plus journey for us. But before I talk about you, I just want to give a big shout out and a big thanks to Donna for providing you with the love and support that you've needed all these years. She's absolutely been wonderful. And, you know, just to sketch, you know, even a highlight of the last 20 years, the journey, Jeff, because I knew you when you were in rabbinical school and you were studying to be a rabbi, with Tani's bar mitzvah and then Kobe's bar mitzvah, the whole issues with Bolton Street, the fact that you and Donna and Eric and I went to see the Dalai Lama, you know, there was such a mix of experiences, you know, but to make my little piece here very short. To really, what stands out for me, Geoff, is your commitment to social justice and, the way in which you created a relationship with Todd Yearley and his congregation, his Baptist congregation down on Madison Street. The times that you went to church with us, and Todd would call you up, and his congregation took to you as quickly and as warmly as we do. And whenever I've seen you in other places speaking about justice for everyone, you really get it, and you're a quick learner, and you're a really inspirational speaker. So having said all that, Geoff, I want to extend an invite to you to apply to law school next year.
Like Todd Yearley.
So that you can commit yourself to social justice for the rest of your years in the community. And I can't guarantee that we're going to accept you, but I promise you we'll give you a fair shake.
Well, thank you. So social justice is a commitment, but I don't really do a whole hell of a lot. Unlike Linda Silvern or you or everybody else, right? But I think my heart's in the right place. So thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Erica,
both.
did you want to say something?
I'll say it later, George.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, this is getting embarrassing.
Well, we're getting to the end of the list of people that have told me they're going to speak. So,
okay.
Laura.
Well, sorry, Geoff. I'm going to continue to embarrass you.
Okay. Hi, Ethan.
Hello. Oh, right. I mean, I've told you before, but I want to just tell you again how important you are to my family, and how wonderful it was that you helped John convert when you did, and that you got us through that last year. It really means a lot, and I just want to thank you.
Laura, that was a meaningful year for me too. You know that.
Okay.
So I could say thank you too.
So, Geoff, your last blessing, do you want to do it before or after me?
I'll do it before you.
Okay. So you're on.
So like Rita mentioned Sheila Peltz Weinberg, and I was going to as well. She writes about the Birkat HaGomel, the blessing for after you have experienced some goodness. She writes, the practice gives voice to gratitude and anxiety in a forum where it can be shared and transformed into connectedness and faith. So someone recovering from a challenge or the recipient of good fortune declares in public, in community, I have been the recipient of good fortune. And the community has a response. May you continue to be the recipient of good fortune. So I recognize the great fortune that I've been gifted, and I am indebted. In fact, one of the words of the prayer is, to one indebted to you, and I feel indebted. I think we all should probably say this, the goodness and support that we all have received, our insights, our counsel, our questions and answers, our trusting of each other, our listening to each other, our walking together for a time. I hope it's been a blessing. So I can say that last bracha, I hope it's here.
There it is.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, right? Blessed are you, fill in your blank, our God, master of time and space, beyond time and space, who treats those indebted to you well and has treated me with goodness. I
Amen.
feel your goodness. Thank you
Amen.
all. Yeah, amen. Okay, George, thank you.
Okay. So now I get my turn. So it was a little over 13 years ago, August of 2007, I believe. Seems like yesterday. I had just completed my cantorial studies, was looking around for opportunities to put them to use. I just happened to be reading the Baltimore Jewish Times online. I was living in Northern Virginia, and I chanced upon an article about this new Reconstructionist congregation called Kol Halev. And the article included interviews with the then president, Jennifer Goldschmidt, and a reference to Rabbi Jeff Bassick, and it also contained their email contacts. And the congregation sounded really interesting, so I contacted them. And Jeff and I spoke on the phone and arranged to get together for lunch at the Crepe Place, as Jeff mentioned, in Mount Washington. And we hit it off immediately. Jeff noted he loved music but wasn't a singer. And that sounded good to me. And from there, we went on to become colleagues and partners and friends and a team. We just had this knack of playing off one another during services, and I can't tell you how many people have commented on how well we've worked together over the years. To hear that has been very rewarding. Even those times when you've gotten a musical idea for a service like 5 or 10 minutes or less before the service begins, somehow we've managed to make it work. Our relationship is and has been a model for how a rabbi and a cantor should work together. And Jeff, I will definitely miss working with you. And obviously we'll continue as friends. And you can be really proud of the congregation and the community that you've created. And I'm proud of whatever I've done to help out. So to sing you into emeritus status, I've written you a song using some liturgical texts that you've loved to use over the years. The texts are from Exodus 25, verse 8, and Psalm 115, verse 18. And I've put the song in the form of a 3-part round. And I'm hoping someday that we can get the Unplugged group together to divide up the parts. But for now, it's just me. And the verses are, Vasu li mikdash v'shochanti b'tocham. Make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. And the verse from Psalms, V'anachnu nevarech Yah me'ata v'ad olam. Let us praise Yah now and forever. So I'm going to sing the 3 parts right now, and then I'm going to play a 3-part George version. Ricky thinks it's 2 Georges too many, but sometimes it's 3 Georges too many. So this is the first part. Ve'asu li mikdash v'shochanti b'tocham. Ve'asu li mikdash v'shochanti b'tocham. The second part. Ve'asu li mikdash v'shochanti b'tocham. Ve'asu li mikdash v'shochanti b'tocham. And the third. V'anachnu nevarech Yah me'ata ve'ad olam. V'anachnu nevarech Yah me'ata ve'ad olam. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. As I said, 3-part George.
Ve'asu li mikdash v'shochanti b'tocham. 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 Ve'asu li mikdash v'shochanti b'tocham.
George. Oh, George. Oh, George.
The sheet music has your dedication on it.
Oh,
All the best, Jeff. And then look forward, as I say, I look forward to getting together with you to chat, and when we can actually do this, to get together for coffee and just talk from time to time. But we'll miss you here.
thank you, everyone. At the risk of asking you to do something that sounds like taking care of me, I actually think we would all benefit from unmuting and saying Amen, because Amen is an affirmation and a confirmation and a support of what's just been going on, not tonight, but the last decade. So I would like one big Amen. If you would indulge me, everybody unmute.
Amen.
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 Thank you all. All right.
Thank you.
Wow. What did I have to be nervous about? I don't know.
Thank
We love you, Jeff.
Yeah, I get
Enjoy your
that.
retirement.
Thank you.
Let them
I
bitch.
get-
Yes.
We love you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm going to watch you guys go. Okay.
Well,
Thank you, Jeff.
well.
Happy trails.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Jeff.
Love you.
Bye, everybody.
Love you.
Bye. All right, brother
Love you,
Jeff.
Donna.
Precious. Been a blessing.
It has been a blessing.
This was wonderful.
Your life is a blessing.
Well, Jeff,
It's a bit much, right? It was a bit much.
the video is amazing. What
Yeah.
a treasure.
You created a community.
Yeah. And I'm so glad, Donna, that you saw
Yeah.
all of this and witnessed this.
We created, right? So if anything, it's co-creation. And I've come to think about midwifery. Like the midwife just helps it happen, right? So I feel like I've midwifed a community. Hey, AB, thank you for coming.
Thank
In
you.
fact, I haven't been able to say hello to everybody specifically, but Mary and
Rabbi Jeff?
Can I
Eugene.
speak?
Yes, please. Yes.
You were a surprise. A
Jeff?
greatly appreciated one. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Eugene. Say it again.
I said you were a surprise, an unexpected surprise, and
Thank
a
you.
greatly appreciated one.
Well, I'm glad that you can still live and be surprised.
Jeff, this is Alan Cohen speaking from an undisclosed location.
Yes.
I'm actually visiting. Anyway, yeah, I'm hoping to get a chance to speak at least brief. Can I say a couple things?
Sure, Alan, thank you.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, well, wow, it's hard you've been, to be honest, until I found Reconstructionist Judaism, I had been basically a high holiday Jew for about 30 or 40 years. And I first found it, wow, through the, high holiday services at Goucher. But Kol Halev became my home. And I was so glad it became my home. I'm glad I was in the old home too. This last year has been very hard. And it's, to be honest, it's pretty weird to have you leave in the middle of all this, but so be it. And, but I have also, I think, learned because of the interactive style here at Kol Halev, learned more about Judaism in the past, whatever number of years I've been part of the congregation than I had the rest of my life. And also made a number of very meaningful connections and friends. And we'll miss you a lot. I must say, I'm very glad George is still here because otherwise I think we might not be able to go on. But there are also a lot of other wonderful people and the rabbis who will continue while we search for another one. Donna, thank you for tolerating Jeff's absence so much of the time. And God, what else? I don't know what else. Anyway, great seeing many people who I haven't seen during the pandemic. And hope you're all okay.
Thank you, Alan.
Wish you the best of luck. And I hope to stay in touch with you because I have your number and email. So sorry, ha ha ha.
And I know where you live.
Yeah, and Jeff, I also just wanted to say, Maya and Naomi, it's great to see that you came here and saw how loved your father has been and how important he's been to developing this community. And though I didn't actually get to see you guys, it was great to know you were here.
They've texted.
Great to be here. Very moving. I'm sorry I didn't turn on video. It's toddler madness in my house right now. But love you, Dad. Love to you all.
Thank you, Nooms.
Can I throw something in? I never thought about becoming a bat mitzvah, but because of my experience here and Jeff's teaching me Hebrew, I want to do it. So I think it means Kol Halev has made me so much more dedicated to Judaism. It's added so much meaning to my life. And I think just being with Jeff and the rest of the community, I mean, it's only been in like 3 years since I've been part of Kol Halev, but it's just made me much more dedicated to Judaism. And that's a gift that I want to thank you for.
Thank you too. And send me an invitation to the bat mitzvah.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Emil and Renata, thank you for coming tonight.
Oh.
Everybody by name.
Thank you, Rabbi Jeff. Wishing you the best.
Jeff.
Wonderful.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
George.
Good week.
Thank you, George, also, and Ricky.